Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to do something very exciting, and I've been talking about this for quite some time, and that is regarding this graphics card. So this is a GTX 1060, it's the 6 gig model, and it's from the Asus Strix lineup. So what I want to do is I want to put some new fans on here, but let me explain to you why. So this graphics card I have running in my server, so it is on 24/7, it is running, I'm doing some work on it and stuff like that. And so I'm not seeing this card, although this is a beautiful shroud, and I think this is actually the best design they have so far. I don't really like the newest ones, like for the 3000 series GPUs. I really don't like the way that shroud looks, but I digress. So what I want to do is these fans are a little bit noisy, and the reason for that is they are just really small, and they do move air, they do cool the card efficiently, but I wanted just to have a little bit more quiet as it is running in my room, and I don't want it to make such a big noise. So what I want to do is I just want to take basically the shroud off and the fans off, and then I want to put on some of my own fans. So I have them right here. So this is just a normal 120 millimeter computer fan, and I want to put it on here. So I'm just gonna zip tie it on like this, and I have two of these, so one will be around about here and the other one will be here at the back. So let me take off this shroud and take off the fans, and then I'll be back and show you what I want to do. Alright, as you can see, I've just taken the shroud off. It was actually quite easy, so it was on basically like this. So for this particular card, it had 3 screws here at the front, or at the bottom I should say. So there's one there, one in the middle, and one here towards the back end of the card, and then there were 3 more, so it was by the fan. So there 1, 2, 3, so 6 screws in total. And then I just lifted this off. Just be mindful, you have to take off the if this has RGB, and if you want to do this with your card and it has RGB in, just be mindful of the cable, and yeah, just carefully pull that out before you just rip off the whole shroud and break something. So yeah, this is a beautiful shroud, I have to say again. A bit dusty, but still beautiful. Next, what I'm going to do is there's, for each fan there is 4 screws. So I'm going to take those screws off, and then there are 3 additional screws here that just holds the cabling, and I'm going to take that off. Also remember to unplug the fans. So on this card it's towards here at the back, so you just have to pull that out very carefully, just not break any wires, because otherwise you won't be able to use these fans again, and that won't be nice. So let me do that, and then I'll be back with you. And there the fans are off. So there's all 3 of them. They are they're basically linked together with a ribbon there at the bottom. So you can take off the front 2 fans, you can take off individually. They actually have like a plug here, but the one the furthest to the back, you always need that one. So if you want to replace the one at the back, you would have to basically buy this whole thing. That's interesting. Fans are a bit dirty, but otherwise, yeah, they look still good. Alright, so here you can see basically what we're going to work with. So if you look at this design, this is basically where the GPU die is. There you can see all of the heat pipes running to the front and to the back. There's 3 big ones and then 2 smaller ones. And so you might not see this on camera, or you definitely will not, but over here I can see, well, basically around there's like a block. So that's where actually the cold plate is, and then from there the heat pipes run out to the front and the back. Right, so seeing this card like this, the top part is flush, but here at the bottom we have some tabs. Now I'm not gonna break those off or bend them flat, as I don't want to damage this card in any way, because in the future I want to put the shroud back. Let's say I want to use this for a build or something, and I'll just make it look good again. So I definitely don't want to damage this card, because yeah, we all know GPUs are, yeah, they're worth gold at this point. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to install this fan like this. Yes, so I'm actually going to use these tabs to align this fans to the bottom. So this one I'll put on something like this, so that at the bottom it is flush with the heatsink, but the top it can stick out a little bit because I have some clearance at the top. And then for this fan, I think this one will go around something like that. So I'm going to zip tie them on here and make sure there's just the blades spin, they don't hit anything, and then we're gonna hook up the wires, and then I'll show the end result. Alright, it is done. So yeah, it looks a bit janky with the zip ties, but other than that, I think it turned out quite well. So let me give you some tips if you're planning on doing this yourself. One of the first things I would recommend you do is make sure that the zip ties you have can actually fit through your screw holes. Mine was just like a touch too big, so I had to pull them through with wires, with pliers, but yeah, it worked out well. So as you can see on the bottom, it lined up quite well, and it's sticking out at the top a little bit. I would say about 7 millimeters or around there. And then for the thickness of the card, so this is normally a 2-slot card, so, and with the normal shroud and fans on here, it would be flush with this plate here. Now it's basically two and a half slots, but that doesn't matter to me because I have room in my server for that. So it'll be sitting like this. Fresh air would be, or cool air I should say, would be blown over in this direction, so it can take enough air. And yeah, so I have two connectors right here. It has either 3-pin or Molex. I'll probably be using Molex just because, yeah, I don't think I have any more 3-pin fan headers open. So they can just spin full speed. I actually have heard them spin full speed. They are really quiet, and yeah, there was really the cheapest fans I could get online. So I bought 5 of them. There's already 3 in my case in the front. And yeah, now I have 2 on my graphics card. So let me put this into my server and turn it on, and then do some testing with it, and then come back with the temperatures for you. I'll give you before and after, and then also noise level. That's the thing I'm most excited about, because I know that the original 3 fans, they were quite loud, especially if the GPU was under load. So yeah, I'll be measuring that as well and telling you what my experience with it is. So let me do that, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, I have tested it, and there's no difference. No difference whatsoever. The temperature on the die is exactly the same. It was 49-50 before. It is still 49 or 50 degrees. It jumps around between the two. The hotspot was around 57-58 before I did the mod. Now it is again 57 or 58. So there is absolutely no difference between the 3 stock, the original fans, or the 2 aftermarket fans, if you want to call it that I put on there. There is temperature wise at least. But what I can tell you is it's running a 100% load right there, and it's literally like 2 meters behind me. And what I can definitely say is the sound coming from it is, I would say, it's like half of what it was beforehand. So with the original 3 fans, they had quite a high pitch, so that was really what that was irritating. It was like sort of like a whining sound, and that was mainly because the fan is so small. And for those of you that know, so right here I have the fan. So for those of you that know, if you have fans and they spin quite close to something else, then you get a lot of like wind turbulence, and that makes like a really like a whoo sound. Like you can hear it sort of like chopping the air, if I can call it that. And I think that was happening with these small fans because they were so small. They were really thin, so they can't really scoop the air and force it down. So they have to spin much faster, which create that whining sound. There's nothing wrong with these fans. They are quite good, and they do their job quite good. But just with the size they are, that is what makes that noise. So from this whole experience, I didn't gain any. There wasn't really any improvement in performance or something like that. But with those two fans, where they blow the air is over a larger area, so they blow it more over the PCB of it, over the RAM and over the chokes and all of the power delivery and all of that. So that is why I prefer the two bigger fans, and they are much quieter, and the sound they produce, it's not a high pitch, it's lower pitch, so it doesn't bother me. It disappears in the background noise, and even at night when the surroundings are quiet, then that doesn't bother me at all. So yeah, that is the improvement actually I was more focused on. But temperature wise, yeah, I'm looking again now, it is exactly the same, still 50 degrees on the GPU, and the hotspot is 58, and that is perfectly fine. I'm happy with that temperatures, running it like that all day. But there is one thing more I want to talk about, and that is why I didn't put the Delta fans on there and tested it first. Well, for the first reason, it takes quite a long time actually to zip tie them on. Like that took me like almost like 45 minutes just to get the zip ties on, because you have to put it between the PCB and the heatsink, and then yeah, tie it all together, and I cut my hands a few times, but I digress. So the reason why I didn't put Delta fans on there is because where the bottleneck is in terms of cooling is not between the heatsink and the air removing the heat from the heatsink. The bottleneck is actually getting the heat from the die to the heatsink. So that is where the bottleneck is, and I've already put other better thermal paste between the heatsink and the die, so that isn't the problem anymore. I did check the mount, and the mount is perfect, or it is the best that I can get it. So the bottleneck isn't between the actual GPU die and the heatsink. That is where the actual bottleneck is. So I can't get the heat into the heatsink fast enough. So it doesn't matter how much air I push through the heatsink, I can't cool it more. I hope that makes sense to you, and that is why I'm not putting the Delta fans on there. And plus the other side to it is these fans that I'm putting on here is, I think it's about 1 watt a fan. The Delta fans running 40 watts, so if you put that together, that's 80 watts, and that's just for 2 fans. That is basically what my GPU is pulling, like the whole GPU's power is 80 watts, like I can check that right here. So yeah, for just energy wise, that is, yeah, it's a lot of money just on fans, and there isn't really an improvement. But I'm really happy with how this turned out, and yeah, maybe in the future I can test it. I can put the Delta fans on there and test it again, just to prove to you guys that it won't. It will probably drop the degrees by like 1 or 2 degrees, but that's such a small difference. It's such a small improvement that it's not worth it for me, especially not with the amount of power it draws. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. And also there's merch in the description down below. There's a link to merch. And yeah, I hope to see you again soon. I have a few videos planned, but if you have any ideas on things you want to test, or just basically computer stuff you want to know how to do, or things like that, leave it down in the comments below. And until next time guys, take care. Bye bye.